before everything was sucked into databases. These are magazines. Let's think about what subscribing to these magazines says about you. If you subscribe to Strategy in Business or Revenue, you've got financial interests. Game Informer, Game Pro, you're a gamer. Ecologist, Home Power, you're interested in green issues. Wine Spectator, you buy wine, duh, right? Bark, Cat Fancier, Dog Fancy, Horse, Animal Fair, you own the appropriate animal. Skateboarding, skiing, golf, again, ditto. Gun Digest, you own a gun. Football, this is a 2-for-1. You're interested in soccer and you come from a Hispanic background. 2 things I want to know about you. No, seriously, that's how it works. Hebe, you're a member of the tribe. Psycho, that's a real magazine, the stupidest freaking name, but it's a real magazine. Psychotherapy. Now it says something about you if you're a psychotherapist and if you're not a psychotherapist. There are magazines called Paranoia, UFO, Mad. Well, I subscribe to Mad. Cracked. There's a magazine called Pause. Pause is a magazine for HIV positive people. You may not want people to know that, but the minute you subscribe, I know that either you are HIV positive or somebody you care about is. Here's an example of marketing lists. Caught in a pickle. Here's 500,000 people who owe more money than they can ever pay back. Credit Amigos. Really demeaning name, but it's the subset of the one above, but they're Hispanic. Desperately seeking products. Domain registration at home. I bought that entire database. We used to do a lot of work comp investigations. People would go, oh, my back, I can't work, pay me. And then we find out they register 3 domains at home, and they're making about $15,000 from, their wheelchair. No wheelchair, but you know what I mean. Investors, outdoorsmen. Some of these really say not nice things about you. Every time I give this seminar, I put this up to let you know how ridiculously finely defined these lists are. This is called Astrology Success. This is the idiot database. If you think I'm being cruel, let me read the description of this. Astrology Success customers have responded to a direct mail solicitation offering angelic intervention for a fee. Give me $100, I'll have the Archangel Gabriel pray for your bunions. Here are 2, now by the way, Info USA, if you guys are really interested in this topic that we're talking about, check out Info USA. This is the stealth privacy invader. I mean, this guy, Vin Gupta, that started this company, I'm sure he takes off his hair and there's horns under there. Suffering seniors, elderly people with cancer, oldies but goodies, 500,000 gamblers over the age of 55. It's like, hey, Pops, want to buy a lottery ticket? If I want to know if you are gay, and I want to discriminate against you, or I want to set you up with my gay brother, or whatever, for whatever reason, I want to know, I can determine it without following you around and seeing if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Do you go to gay websites? Do you go and participate in certain types of events like gay cruises? Have you done something online that I can extrapolate out to determine that you're gay? Chances are I can. I want to know your religion. Are you Christian? Are you Jewish? Are you Muslim? I can find out from databases. Are you right-wing? Are you left-wing? Even easier. Here's 2 real-world examples. These are 2 cases from about 8 years ago. I've talked about this to this group before, and I'll update it for you. These are real, honest-to-God examples. Let's look at the first guy. We determined he's a subscriber to Soldier of Fortune magazine, American Rifleman, meaning he's an NRA member, Washington Times, purchased the Force of Reason, he's a registered Republican, and he's listed in Focus USA, which is a big marketing outfit, Focus USA's Christian donors list. How hard is it to figure out this guy's most basic intimate character? He's a right-wing Christian gun-owning Republican. Duh, right? Yeah, but pretty accurately. And shut up. Second person, these are real honest-to-goodness cases when we were backgrounding jury members or jury pool people. Subscribe it to the Village Voice. Boo. Subscribe it to the Village Voice, High Times Magazine, Cat Fancier. Purchase Chomsky's latest book. He's registered. This is a real guy. Registered with the Green Party, contributed to United Jewish Appeal, Gay Men's Health Crisis, and American Friends of Peace Now. This guy is a very left-wing, pot-smoking, Jewish homosexual. Now, as I always tell people, and some of you have heard this before, I always tell people, we know he's gay not because of the Gay Men's Health Crisis, but because he's a guy who lives alone with a cat. Here is the updated version. And this is for real. It really is this easy. We did this to Rick, and you're going to see that very quickly. Well, some of this refers to you, not the gay part. I won't tell anybody. Okay, he downloads podcasts from Air America. He reads daily costs, online search of voter registration records, which we even have in our office. Determines that he's a registered Democrat, who he contributes to, his Amazon.com purchases. He subscribes to a gay travel blog. Yeah, there's really such a thing. Yeah, once. Yeah, but there's nothing, you know. What's wrong with that? What's the Seinfeld line? That doesn't matter. Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that. And he's checked out the website Catster. Now, by the way, sadly, that's a real website. Looking at that browsing history and viewing history and subscribing history, how hard is it to figure out what our, unknown person are? It is possible. Now, here's where it gets spooky. This is something I would like to spend 3 hours on by itself, because this is one of the coolest, most interesting privacy invading technologies out there, and one of the greatest things for investigators. It is possible to extrapolate out from two widely divergent pieces of information to something you would never imagine. Here's an example. The first one, the Germans are great at, we must know about this man. When they started remarketing, sorry, Chaos Computer Club people, if you're an American, especially if you're a Jewish American, you've got to do that joke. So, but this is a true story. When Volkswagen reintroduced the Beetle about, I think it was 12 years ago, 14 years ago, they were trying to figure out who might own a Beetle. And the space between the original Beetles and the reintroduction of the new Beetles was so distant that they were having a hard time finding, old registration records. All of the normal marketing things were proving to be difficult. You can't walk down the street, want to buy a car, want to buy a car? They needed to figure it out. And somehow, again, German technology, they figured out if you own a cat and you eat chunky peanut butter, you are 3 times as likely to buy a Volkswagen Beetle. Okay, God bless them. How they would have even thought to combine these things or look at this, nobody knows. I do know. What they did was the people who bought the Beetles, the Volkswagen Beetles, they gave them proctology exams. Please fill out this 900-page questionnaire. Would you do that for us? And they found certain characteristics. And once they identified those common characteristics or those more prevalent characteristics, they started marketing to people who match those characteristics. And by the way, this is good business, good capitalism. I see nothing wrong with it, but it's scary. Who does this more than anybody? Political candidates. It started with Karl Rove. who had something called Rovology. Rove figured out, for example, if you drink bourbon, you are disproportionately more likely to vote Republican. If you drink, okay. Apparently Karl Rove is at the talk today. If you drink clear alcoholic products, white wine, wussy, vodka, gin, anything like that, you are more likely to vote Democrat. Here's an example of the stupid thing. I mean, marketers want to know everything about you. They know, for example, the average American has 9 friends, drinks milk from the cereal bowl, eats 25 pounds of candy a year, wow, has lost 12 teeth by age 50 because of the 25 pounds of candy, and prefers smooth peanut butter over chunky. They know that if you live in a certain neighborhood, even if you live in a wildly red state, certain neighborhoods are mostly blue state voting people. Okay, let me just say, all kidding aside, not joking now, cut it out. If, for example, you like, that should say butter, by the way. If you like butter, white wine, fig Newtons, fruit-filled cookies, Red Lobster, the restaurant, you drive a Volvo and you take yoga, you are disproportionately inclined, or you were, she's history now, to vote for Hillary. Olive oil, bare naked granola, going to Starbucks for lattes to go, Cheesecake Factory, Panera, and Starbucks, Barack Obama. Bourbon, stuffed crust pizza, Fiber One, which is kind of funny. But it's true. Hardee's, Fuddruckers, drive a BMW and you own a gun, you're a McCain man. All true in my case except for the Fiber One. Now, what I told you about the Volkswagen Bug, Jetta is trying to do it again. If you go to the Jetta website, they ask you to fill out something called the Jetta Report Questionnaire. Questions like, is lunch more important than breakfast or dinner? Would you like to start up your own business? Is the first place you go for information the internet? Questions that have not the slightest thing to do with a car, but they have a lot to do with you and who they're going to need to market to. Now, beyond the marketers, beyond the cell phone people, there are people who do exist to build investigative databases on you. And if you are a law enforcement officer or you're part of the investigative industry, you know that these companies have been eaten up and eaten up and eaten up, and it's become a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger company. For example, when I started out, there was a company called IRSC, which got bought up by DBT, which got bought up by AutoTrack, which got bought up by CDB, which eventually became ChoicePoint, which has now been bought up by LexisNexis, who first purchased Accurate. And all of these companies had their own little, not so little actually, billions and billions of records on you. And all of this is now being merged into the most extraordinary database. Where you live, where you work, how much money you make, all the marketing stuff, what you buy, what you like, what you listen to, your religion, your sexual orientation, your driver's license, criminal records. Every public record possible is being bought and sucked up. Why? In this particular case, because they really want to build an investigative database on you, but because it's worth money. Who is the biggest customer by far of this now megalopolis of data? The US government. When they do a security check on you, you're going to get a security clearance, secret, top secret. First thing, pull a SISENT report. Are you a potential witness in a case? Are you a suspect? Pull a SISENT report. Every single thing now is being outsourced. And this is the main thing that's being outsourced. And besides the fact that there's just something inherently wrong and un-American in that, what you need to know is these are private companies. Freedom of information does not apply. And you're screwed two ways. You go to Choice Point and you say,